Hi, my name's Jerome Demmer and I'm the CEO of Biostart. Today I want to talk to you about how you can improve vineyard resilience using our Biostart biostimulants. Our Biostart biostimulant range has been developed right here in New Zealand with New Zealand vineyards with viticulturists. We allow the grapevines to more effectively use the microbiology around them, whether that's on the leaves or in the soil. And then we've made the products easy to use, so it's easy to integrate them into your existing growing program. We've focused also on improving wine quality, and we've done a lot of trials to prove this. We've got both conventional and organic products. The way these products work is really to fit in with how vines grow. So vines are farming microbes in the soil, and they do this in a number of ways. It really begins in the beginning here with the photosynthesis, where the vine leaves are making sugars, and these become either carbon that's secreted as root exudates, and as much as 35% of the photosynthesized carbon can go out as root exudates, whereas others go into improving root growth. And of course, the more root growth you've got, the more soil you're exploiting, and the better the ability to absorb nutrients. These exudates, they go around out of the root tips. This is the final 10 centimetres of the grapefruit, and that's where the root hairs are, and that's where all the moisture and the nutrients go into the vine. And plants have evolved relationships with microbes, and when they send out these exudates, they're directing which microbes release which nutrients for plant growth. You can also have mycorrhizal fungi, which are some of these stringy bits, and they are special microbes that are related or interrelated with the plant and take up nutrients. And then you go through the cycle. So that rhizosphere where the nutrients, etc., are taken up, then go back up to the leaf and help with photosynthesis. When you're using the Biostart biostimulant programs, we've designed them to fit in and stimulate different parts of the process. So we have our biostimulant Foliacin that helps with leaf health and photosynthesis, whereas Mycorrcin and Digester are soil applied and they help with root growth. In terms of Mycorrcin and Digester, it's for breaking down crop trash and recycling carbon and nutrients from the vines. We've designed the program so it fits in with how the vine's actually grown. So for example, Mycorrcin, you want that to activate your microbes in the spring, and so we apply it at bud break. Digester, where we want to use it to break down crop trash, we apply it after harvest when the soil is naturally going back into being more fungal dominant, whereas Mycorrcin being applied in the spring is timed in with the bacterial bloom that happens, and that is associated with increased nitrogen fixation. Our Foliacin product, you apply both before and after flowering, and it's a kind of a little and often program that you use throughout the growth cycle of the vine. So what do some of these things actually do in terms of the vineyard? First, we improve soil structure and organic matter. You can see that in some of the diagrams here. With this bottom sample, there isn't much structure. There is no earthworms, whereas we've got earthworms and better structure. And you can see here more dramatically on the left, we've got much more organic matter and structure, whereas there's just a lump of clay on the right. When you've got better soil aeration, you've got improved root growth because there's more room for the roots to grow. You've also got more microbial activity because most of the microbes you want are aerobic, including the fungi. And once you've got more of these two things happening together, you'll get more improved nutrient availability. And this is indeed what we have seen. So we've seen better root growth. So you can see here in the Biostart treated vines, after 3 years, you can see much more branched roots. So that means we've got more of these root tips then that are busy absorbing nutrients and water, whereas there's very poor root structures. And exactly that's what we saw. We saw improved nutrient uptake, even though the nutrient levels were lower in the soil, because the Biostart vines have been growing better. They had higher levels of calcium magnesium in their leaves as a result of having better roots. We also noticed that we had better leaves, bigger leaves. So one way of looking at them is they are the plant solar panels. They are the ones that create the energy. So when you have more leaves, you have more photosynthesis, so you've got more sugars available for exudates or indeed for growing grapes and therefore making better quality wine. As a result of both the leaves in the soil and the roots, what we noticed in one of our trials is that we had larger canes, so we had a bigger cane cross-sectional area, which means you've now got a vine that can carry and mature more bunches. So now I'd like to give some examples of how we've improved vine resilience using the Biostart program in various trials. The first one I'd like to talk about was how we reduced yield losses in very cold weather overflowering in Marlborough a couple of years ago, which resulted in very poor fruit set. So basically we ended up with 2/3 sized bunches, and none of the viticulturists did any bunch thing. So it was really what could the vine carry through to maturity, and what we found in our particular trial is that we had another 8.5 bunches per vine for the Biostart program. The bunch weights were similar, and so what we ended up with is an extra kilo of fruit per vine. So quite a significant improvement in yield compared to control, but this was a yield reduction, so we were only 15% back rather than 30% than the untreated. A second example is improving drought resilience. So what we have here, this is a severe Marlborough drought. You can see all the grass has died around the vines, and there was restricted irrigation, and growers were just trying to hang their crops in until harvest. What you can see on the left is a grower who's been a long-term Biostart user, and the canopy still looks reasonably healthy, and if you looked in there closer you could see that all the bunches were still intact. Whereas the vineyard on the right, which was literally 50 metres away, you can see a lot of yellowing in the canopy. Those leaves are starting to die. And if you looked at the bunches, you could see that the berries were being aborted and were landing on the ground. And so there, the Biostart treated vines could hang on to their fruit and actually improve the yield of the grower. And a third example is maintaining juice quality after a big rain event. In this particular trial, we took some samples before the rain event, which is what's indicated by this this orange arrow. You can see the untreated and the treated had a similar level of bricks. There was then quite a reasonable rain event over the weekend, 35 mils of rainfall, and then the crop was harvested on the blue arrow, and when we analysed the juice, you can see there being quite a big reduction in bricks for the untreated, whereas the Biostart treated juice was maintained. So that indicated that those vines were more resilient, and you can see that when you've got more mycorrhizal fungi associated with the root, those vines are better resilient to high rainfall. The final example is about reducing disease incidence, and we've seen this a lot when we've added Foliacin to a foliar program. And so in this particular trial, what we did is we added Foliacin in, and the untreated or control just had the same agrochemical program but no Foliacin. As you can see, as we come up to harvest, there was almost a halving of botrytis incidence, quite a big drop in severity, and therefore almost no crop loss, just through adding a biological and improving leaf health. Similarly, if you look at the flip skin, so that's usually botrytis that's infected earlier, again we've got almost a halving of incidence, halving of severity, and no crop loss. So I think that gives you 4 very good examples of when you get the biology right in the vineyard or for the vine, that you can improve vineyard resilience using the Biostart biostimulant program. If you want to learn more about our products, please talk to our local advisor in your area. In Northland, Auckland, Waikato, we have Paddy DeVries, Hawke's Bay, Gisborne and Markham, we have Phil Carter, and the whole of the South Island is covered by Jeff Woolmer. Thank you very much.